여러분, 자리에 착석해 주시기 바랍니다. 곧 행사가 시작될 예정입니다. 여러분께서는 휴대전화를 무음이나 진동으로 설정해 주시기 바랍니다. 잠시 후 행사가 시작됩니다.
How do we empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more?
It starts with one.
From one employee to a team, collaborating with another team.
From one partner to their customers to their customers' customers.
Expanding opportunity.
Earning trust. Protecting fundamental rights.
And advancing sustainability.
For our society.
Our economy. Our world.
That's the impact. That's the impact.
That's the impact each of us can have.
That's our collective opportunity.
220,000 employees.
Empowering 8 billion people on the planet.
We are in a new era of AI,
where we will be able to build as fast as our imagination,
unlock our creativity,
and innovate responsibly.
As we take on society's biggest challenges.
Together, we can ensure these benefits reach
every country,
every industry,
and every individual.
When we empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more,
we empower the world.
All right. Good morning. It's wonderful to be back in Korea and in Seoul and to have a chance to be at this AI tour. It's always exciting to come to Korea as we do these platform transitions that come once in 10 years. I've been coming back to Korea perhaps now for the last, 3 decades plus. Have seen the transition to client server, the web, mobile cloud, and now AI. And it's always, I think, helpful, especially in an event like this, to start by grounding ourselves with the force or the wave and the power of that wave that we are all riding. When you think about AI, the thing that most people reference is these scaling laws. It's unbelievable to see how these scaling laws continue to be empirically true, right? I mean, we call them laws, but we know that they're like the Moore's law, are just empirical observations that seem to hold true for a long period of time. And so scaling laws continue. What used to be Moore's law 18 months, with the deep learning revolution, and in particular with transformers, started doubling every 6 months. And then on top of that, now we have even this other test time compute scaling law, which is in some sense very, classic of any type of technological revolution where one S-curve builds on the other S-curve. So this test time compute builds on the pre-training scaling laws, and now we're seeing the doubling of capabilities every 3 months. And so it's that combination of test time compute and pre-training scaling laws that are really creating, in some sense, where their demand is elastic, more supply is coming. And that's what people refer to as this Jevons paradox that nowadays is becoming, again, very well talked about, because I think what is going to happen is as we think about performance per dollar per watt, right? Because that is, in some sense, the real equation. For any country, any company, you really want to be able to think about tokens of performance per dollar per watt. is ultimately the output or the value add you create, and how do we optimize that becomes the name of the game. And it's just great to see all of this happening. And the way it manifests, if you sort of say, okay, all this power of scaling laws manifests in three fundamental breakthroughs. The first is a breakthrough in the user experience layer, where how we relate to computing in our lives is going to become much more natural, multimodal, right, whether it's speech or text or video, in and out, and fundamentally about language. And so therefore it's going to revolutionize all of the computing interface. And then it becomes richer because you now have the reasoning and planning capabilities, and you can ground it in long-term memory and context. So these three things is what allow us to build richer and richer AI systems or systems of intelligence that I think we're going to see all over. And so to us, this is what leads to this very rich agentic world where you will have agents that work in a personal context, organizational or team context, or even end-to-end business process context, right? That's the agentic web that is being born thanks to all of this power of AI. Now, that's fantastic. For us at Microsoft, we always come back to our simple but powerful mission of empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, which is we want to be able to harness that power of AI ultimately to empower every person and every organization to be able to use that to do meaningful things in their particular country, in their community, in their industry, in their company. And that is what we want to really talk about for the rest of this keynote. And by the way, it sort of starts with just individual consumers. When you think about even the consumer experiences, pretty much, whether it is entertainment or shopping or commerce or news and information or search and research, all of these things today that we think of as different applications are used are all going to be changed because of AI. And we are really looking forward to not only our innovation, but the innovation of the entire ecosystem in the consumer space. Similarly, when it comes to organizations, AI is transforming the fundamental employee experience, how we think about customer service, how we think about business process, how do we even think about core innovation inside the company, whether you're a CPG company in cosmetics or you're in pharma, it doesn't matter. You're both going to equally bend the curve of innovation. And so to us, to really achieve these transformational goals, we are building three platforms. Microsoft at its core is a platform and partner company. That's how I describe our core DNA. We always approach new technologies by thinking about the technology we build so that others can create more technology on top of these platforms. And so I want to talk about these three platforms, starting with Copilot. The best way to conceptualize this Copilot platform is to think of this as the UI layer for the AI layer, right? You want to bring AI and have it be just part of your everyday experience, right? Just like today when somebody says UI, you think of an operating system, you think of a browser, you think of an application. We want to be able to bring AI to those operating systems, to those browsers, to those applications, and then have, in some sense, the operating system disappear, the browser disappear, the apps disappear. That is what is going to happen with this UI for AI layer. To give you a flavor for this, let's just see a short video of how multimodal experiences being brought to Copilot are completely changing how we interact with computing. In fact, I have Copilot set to my iPhone action button, and I'm all the time talking to it, especially on a car commute. listening to things like podcasts. The way I consume podcasts is by having a conversation with Copilot, right? Because the transcript is available, and now I can actually have a conversation with a transcript using a multimodal interface in Copilot. Let's roll the video.
Guess who's dog sitting? Which celeb does he remind you of?
Oh, he's totally one of the Chris's. You know, the one with the friendly eyes and that megawatt smile.
Nailed it. Obviously superhero material.
For sure. And his superpower? Puppy dog eyes.
He's begging me for walkies. Where's good around here?
I've got just the thing. Check out these awesome dog parks nearby.
You know, in fact, I do that, you know, with on my car commutes with the action button. But on the PC, I have the voice browser essentially always open, and it even with Copilot Vision even sees the screens that I am seeing and helps me through my daily work. Now, so if that was sort of a classic consumer browser experience, now that becomes more of a Copilot experience. At work, one of the ways we are envisioning is bringing Copilot to all of the popular applications you use as you work. In fact, let's take one of my favorite demos has been, you know, a doctor using Copilot to get ready for her tumor board meeting, right? So if you think about a doctor getting ready for a tumor board meeting, it's a pretty high stakes meeting. You want to be able to look at all the reports, create an agenda that actually accounts for the complexity of every individual case. Then you want to attend a meeting like a Teams meeting where you're discussing. So instead of being distracted by documents and others, you're paying attention in the meeting to the case that's being discussed. Of course, the meeting is taking AI notes, or Teams is taking and creating AI notes for you, which are high fidelity. Those AI notes then can be, after the meeting is done, you can go to Word, and from Word, she's a teaching doctor, so that means she needs to go to a class to teach, and she can create a PowerPoint presentation. So that's just a simple workflow that today everyone uses, right? You're using Teams and Word and what have you, but now you're able to have Copilot help you with some of these high stakes things like a tumor board meeting and teaching of those cases. Now, in fact, we go one more step, right? So that was about Copilot in sort of existing apps. When I look at my own experience, fundamentally there's new work artifacts and workflow, right? So I collect information, and then I go to Copilot pages. Or let's say I'm retrieving some information on sales data. I can go ahead and have a chat session. As I am having chat sessions, I'm collecting interesting information. I promote all that information into pages, right? So there is a many-to-many relationships even between multiple chat sessions and multiple pages I have. And these pages are collaborative by default. So that is, I am working with AI, and in some sense I use the metaphor of I'm thinking with AI and working with my colleagues in real time. And so this idea that you now have pages that allow you to collaborate in new ways with AI and your co-workers, I think is a new type of workflow that I think all of us are getting used to. And I just don't stop there. In fact, one of the most exciting things about Copilot is Copilot Studio and the ability to continue to build agents, right? So the new way people will work is I will work with my Copilot and the thousands of agents that Copilot has access to. And building agents should be as simple, right? It should not be mystical. It should be as simple as creating a document or as creating a spreadsheet. So I can go to Copilot Studio. I can build something like a field service agent by giving it a prompt and some instructions, giving it some knowledge. It can be a SharePoint site or a Dynamics CRM database or a field service database. And then you have a field service agent that you can now call from your Copilot. So that's what we're trying to do with Copilot Studio. And then, of course, the data asset, right? The entirety of the data. In fact, the most important database is the communications and collaboration database inside of the company, right? What is underneath Microsoft 365 in many organizations, whether it's a small business or a large enterprise, is very, very rich data that up to now has never been tapped into. And now you can tap into it along with all of the rest of the enterprise data. Through Dataverse, you can get to your ERP and CRM data. Through Power BI, you can get to all of the analytical data warehouse data. You're able to use Fabric. So all of that now you can bring in, and by the way, the web data as well, right? So you have the world's knowledge, you have all of the organizational knowledge that today has been spread out in multiple silos, can all be brought together to ground your LLMs or your intelligence layer and the Copilot layer so that you can get more value out of everything that you've in fact invested in all these years. So that's the data cloud. Now, already this Copilot system is having tremendous impact because at the end of the day, you want to see productivity growth. You want to see economic growth inside your own company. And so we are seeing it, right? We see customer support now is 12 times faster. This is right at Microsoft. We're seeing marketing conversion rates increase by 20+%. We are seeing sales basically pipeline or revenue per seller increase by double digits. We are seeing IT, for example, HR self-service, right, has been perhaps the most transformed in terms of 35% increase in deflection rate of all the self-service. So overall, you see tremendous amount of productivity gains. And this is not just about Microsoft. It's happening right here in Korea with all kinds of customers everywhere. And it's just fantastic, whether it's in gaming, whether it's in retail, whether it's in manufacturing. You see all these logos of customers right here who are able to use this technology to drive tangible return on investment and tangible productivity gains. And I had a chance this morning to meet with people from GS Retail who proudly showed me how they're using Microsoft 365 Copilot to drive the frontline experience within their enterprise. And it's fantastic to see that. And I'm really excited to see how they were able to even build a sales agent in addition to using the Copilot to be able to drive up their own productivity gains. Now, we're not stopping there. In fact, I am really thrilled to announce today the launch of what I think will be the beginning of a new wave of innovation inside a Copilot, which are these reasoning agents or thinking agents. We have two agents that we are launching. First is Researcher. And Researcher now is able to take these reasoning models and apply them not just to the web, but to that entire richness I described of the enterprise data, right? So just imagine if you want to create a high-fidelity project report or a market research report or a gross margin improvement plan, you are able to take everything on the web, everything inside of the Microsoft Graph, in your ERP, in your supply chain, in your CRM sales tool, and bring all of that into a complete research report. So what we have done is taken that recipe of doing basically chain of thought reasoning over entirety of your data across all the tools that you have access to and build a first-class researcher. We've done the same for data analysis. Now, this to me, one of my favorite tools of all time has been Excel. And now we go beyond even Excel to create a data analyst where you can give it any arbitrary data. In fact, the most beautiful thing is you can give it 2 Excel spreadsheets that you just say, go analyze and come back with all the insights. And in fact, we're not even stopping there. We are putting these reasoning models into Copilot Studio so that you can build your own reasoning traces. You can do your own training of chain of thought and reinforcement learning to build the things that you want to build specifically for your business function and your business needs. So to show you all of this in action, I wanted to invite up on stage my colleague, Kelly. Kelly, take it away.
Thank you, Satya. Recent advances in LLMs have brought us into a new reality where AI has remarkable powers of reasoning and problem solving. We've taken one of the latest models, OpenAI's O3 Deep Research, and optimized it for work to create two new agents, analyst and researcher. Let's start with researcher. I'm here in Copilot chat, and you'll see the researcher agent on the right. Using advanced orchestration in Copilot and deep search algorithms, researcher references the work data you use every day, like your emails, meetings, chats, files, and more. Let's say I work in product development and we're entering a new market. So I need help developing a product strategy for our expansion. I enter my prompt and researcher immediately gets to work. The first thing it does is ask clarifying questions, just like a seasoned colleague would. I enter my responses and it takes those answers to move forward. You see here, the agent takes my prompt, understands the task, and conducts a plan to reach an answer. You'll notice it's reasoning over all of my work data, not just one file. Here, we can see its chain of thought reasoning in real time. You see it working through the problem. It builds an understanding of my product lineup, references my recent meetings, and even pulls in industry updates from the web. Now, this process takes just a few minutes, so we're going to jump ahead to the result. Just look at this thorough response. It's something in line with what I'd expect from a researcher on my team. And now I can edit this response in Pages and bring in my team to collaborate. What we just saw was built on work data and the web, but researcher can also be connected to third-party data via connectors. And it can leverage other agents, like Sales Chat, to connect to its rich data and its logic. Now that we've got a great product development strategy with researcher, let's turn over to analyst. We built analysts to think like a skilled data scientist, so you can go from raw data to insights in minutes. Now, I have this really messy, highly complex data set. You can see thousands of rows and multiple tabs with customers and their monthly revenue. And none of this has been cleaned or contextualized. Usually, to make sense of this data, I'd have to pull in a member of my team who knows Python. But we're going to give the analyst agent a try. Now, I don't have to spend tons of time writing the perfect prompt to get the answer that I'm looking for. I'll simply ask Copilot to help me come up with a way to easily understand, learn, and visualize my data. You'll see the agent takes my question, understands the task, and constructs a plan to reach an answer, like we saw with researcher. It also identifies the Python tools it needs to complete the task, just as a data analyst would. It can take any complex data set, make sense of it, and execute the Python code to reason through the questions you asked. Now, if you want to see more about its thought process, I can always click in and see that chain of thought reasoning, as well as the Python code that it's running in real time. That way, I can always validate the agent's thinking and approach. Now, analyst is already on to the final step, and it's working on that visualization I need. And here, I've got the answer I was looking for, with an electric visual to share with the team. Now, with researcher and analyst, every employee has access to expertise on demand. Back to you, Satya.
Thank you, Kelly. I mean, it's pretty stunning, right? I mean, think about it, right? We first started by saying, let's give every employee at work Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Outlook and what have you. And we saw the flowering of what became knowledge work throughout the enterprise. And then we said, let's give everyone Copilot and then have them ask questions, get back answers. But now just imagine what every one of us can do at work with a researcher and an analyst, a data scientist and a researcher that's always available to you to be able to use to essentially do your knowledge work. I think this is going to completely change the scale and scope of what any one of us can do at work. And I think that this is going to have a pretty profound impact. Now, so that was about Copilot as the UI for AI and how it is evolving to becoming a first-class platform. The next platform I want to talk about is the Copilot and the AI stack, right? This is what we are trying to build out in Azure by one layer at a time. We've always envisioned Azure as the world's computer. Right here in Korea, we have two regions, both in in Korea Central and Korea South. We continue to expand it, bring the latest and greatest technology and infrastructure to these data centers. When we think about AI infrastructure, a couple of things to keep in mind. One is you really want to take a systems view to bring the best world-class infrastructure when it comes to delivering both the scale and the performance and the cost, right? This is where there is great silicon innovation from our partners like an NVIDIA or an AMD. We have Maya. All of that is, very much part of the fleet. By the way, every workload in AI also happens to use traditional compute and storage. In fact, if you think about some of the things we talked about reasoning, you really need to be able to do a lot of storage needs to be very close and compute needs to be very close to these agents that are running and doing the reasoning tasks. So therefore, I think we're thinking about all of the data center to silicon, to the network, to the storage system, to all of the software on top as one systems problem. And one systems design is how we're approaching it. The next layer up from infrastructure is the data asset, right? Because ultimately, if you want to have intelligence, the key is to rendezvous your data close to your intelligence layer. And this is where, again, the approach we are taking is to make sure you can bring all your data, right? We, first of all, are building these cloud-native operational stores in Cosmos DB. For example, all of the user state underneath ChatGPT is all in Cosmos DB. And so we're building out Cosmos DB, we're building out all of these Postgres and the rest of the SQL asset to be able to do the transactional databases, Fabric as the analytics capability, and of course, you can bring, whether it's Databricks and all the innovation they have, or Snowflake, or even Oracle, you can bring all of that into the cloud so that you can now have a full data estate right next to the intelligence layer so that you can be able to do all the application development. Now, on top of that, we are also building out a first-class AI app platform in Foundry, right? With every wave of platform shifts, you have new needs that every app developer has. You don't want to recreate the evals or the observability, the ability to have access to multiple models, whether they are SLMs or large frontier models, open source or closed source. We have access to all those 1,800 plus models in Foundry so that you can use them as part of your application development effort. So Foundry becomes essentially like what maybe web servers were or IIS was to the web app building. Foundry is to AI app building. Now, the next piece is, of course, once you have your infrastructure, your data, you have your app server, the thing you want is world-class tools. This is where I'm always excited because Microsoft 50 years ago nearly, started as a tools company, and today we continue to innovate, whether it's in VS Code, whether it's in GitHub or GitHub Copilot, and it's unbelievable to see the momentum even that we have right here in Korea with GitHub. It's grown by close to 20%. We now have 2.25 million developers in GitHub in Korea, and it's increasing each year by a tremendous rate, and it's fantastic to see that. And we continue to innovate. In fact, Thomas is going to come and give you a great presentation on all the innovation in GitHub, which has been very exciting. But the thing that I'm really looking forward to is these SWE agents. Just like how researcher and analysts are changing knowledge work, I think the SWE agent is the next big departure when it comes to productivity of developers. I mean, PRs, you can assign a PR straight to your Copilot, and your Copilot goes to work on it, and you can see its work, right? Its chain of thought, essentially, its plan, its spec, and then it does the multi-file repo update, and then sends a PR back to you in order to approve, right? So this idea that you have a SWE agent is going to be transformative. Now, the next piece, and right now we see lots and lots of customers and partners innovating on this stack in Korea, and I had a chance this morning to spend some time with multiple, entrepreneurs and companies that are really doing some fascinating work. I mean, my first one, example here is Galaxy. They're building using some of these multimodal capabilities. In fact, they were using Sora to create videos for K-pop artists. It's just wonderful to see how they're able to transform that. The founder there has unbelievable vision of how to even bring back memories so that you can actually have the ability to use AI to create even memories that last beyond one's life even. And so that's just fantastic to see. QCell is just transforming, I think, what energy management should look like, whether it's trading, whether it's grid management, and everything else across the entire energy supply chain and value chain. And it's just tremendous to see. LG showed me their bot, their robot that they built. That was just tremendous to see how not only does it have emotional or EQ to relate to us using some of the AI advances, but it also has the ability to control the home appliances and act as that modern hub for what is a new type of, the ability to control every device in the house. I also had a chance to, meet the entrepreneurs and the scientists behind Seegene. It's just unbelievable that they're building this platform for every scientist in the world to be able to create better diagnostics, right? So think about that. It's a platform approach to creating solutions for diagnosis using the combination of essentially graph RAG on one end and HPC workloads on the other end, right? So if you think about LLM with graph RAG plus HPC will allow you to be able to relate the literature, the gene to the literature that allows you to find the diagnostic. And that's, fantastic to see. And then I had a chance to meet with Amore Pacific team that is building a bot that is transforming what it means to have a beauty counselor. So let me roll the video to give you their vision.
저희 아모레퍼시픽은 1945년도에 설립되어 한국을 포함하여 15개국이 넘는 국가에서 뷰티 비즈니스를 하고 있습니다.
아무래도 개인적으로 뷰티 카운슬링을 받을 기회가 많지는 않잖아요. 그래서 집에서 간단하게 고민을 해결할 수 있는 방법이 있다는 게 좀 도움이 많이 될 것 같아요.
아모레 AI 뷰티 카운셀러는 디지털상에서 움직이는 뷰티 AI 비서라고 할 수 있습니다.
고객의 개인화 데이터를 기반으로 질문을 하고 답변을 하기 때문에 AIBC는 이러한 접근성들을 바로 쉽고 빠르게 정확하게 이야기해 줄 수가 있습니다. AI 파운더리 쓰고 그리고 패브릭 사실상 애저 오픈 AI 모델이 없었으면 저희가 지금 같은 AIBC 같은 서비스를 이 정도 수준까지 끌어올리기에는 거의 불가능에 가까웠을 겁니다.
피부 고민에 대해서 질문을 해봤을 때 건조한 피부였을 때 이런 제품이 좋아요 아니면 이런 방법이 좋아요 라고 자세하게 제안을 해주면
저 같은 이제 20대는 합리적인 가격을 많이 따지는데 여러 가격대의 제품을 또 소개해주고 도움이 많이 됐던 것 같습니다.
AI를 적용함으로써 굉장히 강력한 경쟁력을 갖게 될 것이라고 생각합니다.
파일럿이고 전체 커스터머 서비스 문의에서 한 10에서 한 15% 정도가 AI 뷰티 카운셀러가 담당하게 됐습니다.
이를 통해서 공간과 비용과 인력의 제한을 없애서 생산성 향상에 크게 도움이 될 것으로 생각합니다.
AI BC는 대화를 하면 할수록 고객을 더 아름답고 더 멋있는 삶으로 이끌 수 있습니다.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see that example in some sense. Yeah, you can go ahead and clap. It I think captures the essence of what I think of is a platform approach to building AI solutions. Because what they did was to use one lake to rendezvous all their data. They hydrated the right data into Fabric, used that on top of Foundry, and then built their AI application. So it's not a completely different stack for each project, but essentially one stack with multiple AI applications. That is the type of approach that companies can take going forward. And it's great to sort of see the realization of the value of a platform approach that an organization can take. Now, the next platform I want to talk about is Copilot PCs, right? Up to now, I've been talking about all this rich innovation that's happening in the cloud. Whether it's systems innovation in silicon layer or at the data center layer or what have you. But by the way, that same level of innovation is going to happen and is happening on the edge, and especially with Copilot PCs, we now have NPUs with more than 40 TOPS. It's fantastic to see that power. That means as we have more breakthroughs in these reasoning models that have become much more efficient, you will be able to run very capable models right on the edge. And in fact, you can have the true hybrid AI capability. In fact, one of my favorite things is to go to the Windows Store and keep looking at the AI Hub to see the innovation of application developers, right? Whether it's Adobe or it's CapCut or it's Microsoft's own innovation, you are now beginning to see a new generation of AI applications being built that are true hybrid. They will use the cloud, they will use the client, and bring them together as one experience. In fact, think about even something as simple as photo editing, or what people are talking about as memories going forward. I think that these will all be very rich applications that one can build using these new platforms like the Copilot PC. And let's roll the video to give you a flavor for the innovation in Copilot PCs. You know, to me, these new verbs, right, recall, click to do, generative fill, super resolution, these become new ways you interact with your applications and computers. And so this is what the power of the local processing power and AI and the cloud can bring together. And it's just, I think, fantastic to be an application developer with access to both platforms, the cloud platform and the client platform, to innovate. And of course, all these three platforms I talked about have to have one thing in common. That is trust. Because at the end of the day, for us to have more computing power in our lives, we need to fundamentally trust them. And that means we need to have a principled approach to trustworthy AI. That means whether it's a Secure Future initiative where we are doing tremendous work in improving the cybersecurity posture around all these products, privacy principles, and AI safety principles. So it's not just having these initiatives or principles, but to be able to actualize them in terms of real innovation. And we've been able to launch many, many features, whether it's on the AI safety side, like one of the things that I love a lot is this groundedness API, right? Because one of the issues is hallucination. How do you ensure that you don't have models that hallucinate is to be able to use this groundedness as a way to evaluate whether your application is safe. And this is the sophistication or the maturation of the software development process around AI applications. Same thing in privacy, security, with things like confidential computing that we have always innovated in. But just yesterday, I was excited to see us even bring these agents to all of the security surface area. You now have security agents helping you with triage around phishing attacks, giving you threat intelligence alerts, being able to make sure that conditional access is being rightfully enforced, data protection alerts. And by the way, these are not just Microsoft agents. We've also opened up our security Copilot ecosystem to incorporate all the agents being written by many, many, many third parties, right? So this again, speaks to that platform approach. Security is a team sport. It's not about any one company. It's all of us working together and all the innovation coming together. And so we are really very excited to bring even AI agents to help with what is an ever-increasing risk that we have around cyber and cybersecurity. Now, beyond all of the innovation I talked about, I would want to also emphasize that we are also breaking new ground. As AI has become sort of more mainstream, we think we also need to keep moving the system architecture forward, right? Up to now, for the last 70 plus years of computing, we've had one computing architecture, which is the von Neumann architecture. Quantum computing is coming and making real strides in progress. Just a few months ago, we had the chance to reveal to the world the fundamental physics breakthrough with Majorana 1, which is something that we've been working on for 20 years to make sure that we can actually see the physical presence of these Majorana zero modes, because we think that is the physics breakthrough that's needed to build utility scale quantum computing. And we are very committed to that. It's going to essentially, when we think about Azure Quantum, we think about quantum computing that we build, but also what others build, but also have languages like Q# and our error correction on top of quantum computers available as a system architecture to all developers. So let's roll the video to give you a flavor for the innovation in quantum.
Introducing a breakthrough in quantum computing, the Majorana 1. A new approach that ignores the limitations of current models to combine the power of millions of potential qubits all working together to solve unsolvable challenges in creating new medicines, entirely new materials, and helping our natural world. All on a single chip. The Majorana 1.
I mean, the best way to, go ahead. The best way to think about Majorana or quantum is if AI is the emulator of nature, because that's what you can do, right? Whether it's computational chemistry or computational biology, you can use AI to reduce the search space, find solutions, and quantum computer is the simulator of nature. And so when you put those things together, today we have HPC plus AI, tomorrow we will have quantum plus AI. And I think that combination of those two can change scientific discovery and accelerate it like anything, like something that we've never seen before. So we're very excited about it. But I want to close out where I started. At the end of the day, we are a tech company. But we are a tech company that is fundamentally driven by our mission to empower every person and every organization, starting with one country, one community at a time. That means to us, it matters that we come back here each year to see the innovation in Korea by Korean entrepreneurs, Korean businesses, Korean public sector, to see the improvements in health outcomes, education outcomes, the local surplus that's being created here. Because none of this technology will amount to anything without all of you participating in it and creating more technology. And in that context, I'm super proud to be partnered with KT to really ensure that we can bring that next level of capability that is right here locally being built around our platforms to enable the rest of the Korean economy. And we are really excited to bring even that next level of trust in this technology that can be built around these platforms. And so partnering with KT is just a tremendous privilege for us, and we're really looking forward to seeing that partnership flourish going forward. In that context, we are also very mindful that one of the most important things for us to collectively do is to ensure the broad diffusion of skills around AI, right? It's about the human capital of Korea and the AI capability of Korea that together will create, I think, an economy that flourishes way into the future. And so to that degree, on that side, we are really excited to partner again with KT in bringing a nationwide AI skilling program where you can now get these micro degrees in AI for anyone who is in college. And so we are very, very excited about really ensuring that we can scale the country broadly to be able to take advantage of all this innovation and create more innovation for Korea and the world. Thank you all very, very much. Have the rest of a fantastic tour.
We find ourselves in a new era. One where access to information is access to expertise. From the farm to the lab, from the boardroom to the classroom, this new generation of AI is for everyone, everywhere. Now anyone can save time with a personal assistant.
이를 통해서 공간과 비용과 인력의 제한을 없애서 생산성 향상에 크게 도움이 될 것으로 생각합니다.
With GitHub Copilot, I'm saving about 50% of time, and that's time that I can use to do other innovative things.
Anyone can access a personal tutor to learn new skills.
I think this technology has the potential to completely reimagine the way every single student learns in the world.
It's like a mentor. Siemens Industrial Copilot takes existing code and describes what it does in natural language.
This is a new way to analyze with a personal coach.
今までは40分から1時間ぐらいレポートの作成に費やしておりましたが、その時間が20分から30分ぐらいもっと短くなると感じております。
Within fraud, we have to move quickly, accurately, and in the ethical way. This technology is a fraud fighter's dream.
AI is unlocking creativity for us all.
Descriptions are so detailed. In my imagination, I can paint the artwork.
Our virtual assistant is providing all the beauty of history, of art, of nature to help everybody better understanding all the hidden gems of the city.
And we are just getting started.
한국 마이크로소프트 조원우 대표를 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. 네, AI 투어 서울에 오신 여러분 진심으로 환영합니다. 정말 많은 변화들이 빠르게 일어나고 있는 것을 실감하게 되는 요즘인 것 같습니다. 제 개인적으로는 제가 좀 필요한 정보를 확보하는 방식이 과거 서치에서 프롬프트로 완전히 변화했습니다. 아마 이 자리에 계신 많은 분들도 각자 코파일럿이나 여러 AI 에이전트들 하나씩 가지시고 필요한 정보를 확보하지 않으실까 생각되는데요. 또 많은 개발자분들이랑 말씀을 나눠보면 개발자 에이전트, GitHub 코파일럿 같은 툴이 이제는 더 이상 새로운 것들이 아니라 당연히 꼭 사용해야 되는 그런 툴로 인지되고 있습니다. 앞서서 사티아가 리서치 에이전트나 애널리틱스 에이전트에 대한 설명을 했는데요. 저는 이제 이런 에이전트들이 범용화되기 시작하면 저희가 새롭게 사업을 계획하는 방식이나 아니면 함께 준비하는 방식, 그리고 이제는 전체적인 비즈니스의 프로세스가 파괴적으로 변화해서 아마 이제 저희가 일을 하는 방식, 회사가 돌아가는 너무나 많은 부분들이 변화하지 않을까라고 기대하고 있습니다. 제가 많은 기업의 리더분들하고 말씀을 나누게 되면 그 리더분들 한 분 한 분도 각자 직면하고 계시는 여러 시장과 그 상황의 변화에 대해서 민감하게 고민을 말씀해 주시는데요. 특히 지속적으로 변화하는 정치적 상황, 국제 정세, 또 그에 따른 불확실성, 또 전 세계 곳곳에서 생겨나는 다양하고 정말 너무 훌륭한 경쟁사들은 저희 기업들에게 새로운 제품을 만들거나 새로운 가치를 창출하고 또 그런 혁신의 과정들 또한 가속화하도록 강요하고 있습니다. 그리고 인구 감소나 에이징에 대한 문제는 이제는 먼 미래의 문제가 아니라 저희가 모든 기업들이 오늘 당장 생산성과 산업 전문성에 대한 부분을 재정비하라라고 하는 그런 큰 압박을 가하고 있습니다. 이 각각의 해결책에 대한 대안으로 AI가 답이 되고 있는데요. 그것들은 데이터를 통해서도 여러분들에게 설명드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다. 국내에서 마이크로소프트 애주어 클라우드를 사용하는 고객의 70%가 현재 AI 서비스를 사용하고 계십니다. 그리고 저희가 작년에 그 한국판 버전을 런치한 마이크로소프트의 코파일럿은 한국판 버전 런치 후에 지난 6개월간 약 20%씩 매주 사용자 수가 늘고 있습니다. 그리고 동기간 동안에 마이크로소프트와 파트너들이 새롭게 시작한 비즈니스의 프로젝트의 94%가 AI 비즈니스에 관련된 프로젝트입니다. 이 자리에 계신 분들이 아마 가지고 계신 질문을 통해서, 가지고 계신 질문, 또 오늘 행사를 통해서 최대한 많은 답을 얻고자 하시는 질문들이 저는 이게 아닐까 생각합니다. 나는 그럼 무엇을 해야 되는 건가? 이렇게 빠르게 변화하고 있는 가운데 나는 어떻게 공부하고 학습하고 AI 시대에 대비해야 되는가? 그리고 두 번째로 우리 조직은 어디에서부터 성공적인 변화를 시작하고 로드맵을 만들어 가야 되는가? 그리고 가장 중요한 질문인데요. AI가 이제는 프로젝트가 아니라 플랫폼을 결정하고 형성해 나가는 지속적인 그 진화의 과정이라는 증거의 방안인데요. 나는 누구와 고민하고 실행하고 개선해 나가야 하는가라고 하는 질문입니다. 기업 내 AI의 활용이 프로젝트에서 플랫폼 구현으로 변화하는 반증인데요. 혹시 이 질문에 대한 답이 궁금하실까봐 제가 힌트를 오른쪽 상단에 조그맣게 그려놨습니다. 많은 분들이 AI를 진행하는 그 프로젝트 방식을 크게 세 가지로 진행하십니다. 작게 시작하셔서 내 주변에 가까운 일부터 하자. 아니면 내가 기획하고 고민하던 것들을 가속화하자. 아니면 마지막으로 내가 멀리 내다보던 일들을 혁신적으로 만들어가자. 이렇게 세 가지 방식으로 하고 있는데요. 제가 오늘 세션을 통해서 드리고 싶은 부분은 실제로 이런 일들을 추진하고 계시는 고객을 초대해서 소개해드리려고 합니다. 먼저 데이터와 기계에 대한 호기심을 학업에서 사업으로 발전시키시고 이제 AI 전문 기업으로 도약을 준비하는 세이지, 그리고 발표는 서울대학교 기계공학부 교수님이시면서 세이지의 대표이사이신 박용훈 대표님께서 해주시겠습니다. 박 대표님.
소개 감사합니다. 저희 세이지는 한마디로 산업용 AI 회사입니다. 저희는 이제 비전 AI 기술로 이 제조 산업의 품질 관리 문제나 뭐 산업 안전 환경 모니터링 같은 이런 실제 문제를 해결해주는 그런 솔루션을 개발하는 회사입니다. 최근에는 이제 좀 이 2차 전지의 뭐 불량 검사나 아니면 건설 현장의 뭐 안전 모니터링 좀 레퍼런스를 좀 트랙 레코드를 좀 만들고 있습니다. 아마도 뭐 다 동의하실 것 같은데 그 대한민국은 뭐 제조 산업으로 먹고 사는 나라입니다. 그래서 저는 뭐 제조 현장 많이 다녀봤고 거기에서 이제 뭐 AI를 도입할까 말까 고민을 많이 하는데 사실 AI의 도입은 이제는 뭐 선택이 아니고 생존을 위한 정말 필수 전략이라고 저는 생각을 합니다. 요즘 하루 다르게 정말 파운데이션 모델이 계속 나오고 있죠. 예, 그래서 이제 제조 산업의 다양한 문제들을 하나의 파운데이션 모델로 좀 해결하려는 그런 시도가 사실 여기저기 있습니다. 근데 사실 굉장히 좀 현실적인 어려움들이 많이 따르는데요. 이제 제조업이라면은 굉장히 데이터가 많은 것 같은데 실제 가보시면은 데이터가 별로 없습니다. 그리고 제조 산업에서 요구하는 99% 이상의 정확도 또는 실시간 연산, 빠른 학습, 재학습 잘 나오지가 않습니다. 그래서 저희는 이런 파운데이션 모델보다는 도메인에 특화된 vertical AI 솔루션이 답이라고 생각을 합니다. 그 구조는 이제 요 뒤에 나와 있습니다만은 그 맨 아래는 그 도메인에 특화된 어떤 코어 알고리즘이 존재하고요. 그 바로 위에는 역시 도메인에 특화된 MLOps 레이어가 있고 맨 위에는 역시 도메인에 특화된 AI 에이전트가 있습니다. 그 제조 산업은 사실 요 구조가 저희가 보기에는 정답인 것 같습니다. 그리고 사실 이제 요게 좀 이제 저희가 이제 궁극적으로 목표로 하는 이런 그림인데 아마 이제 인더스트리 5.0에 대해서 들어오신 분들은 아마 이런 그림 많이 보셨을 겁니다. 여기에서 핵심은 클라우드예요. 사실 이제 우리나라 제조 업체들은 이제 클라우드를 좀 기피하는 현상이 있어요. 비용이나 뭐 데이터 보안 문제 뭐 등등 때문에. 근데 이제 클라우드로 이런 작업 현장을 통합해야지만이 버티컬 AI 솔루션이 진짜 이제 제대로 가치를 발휘할 수 있습니다. 그리고 이제 이 버티컬 AI 솔루션을 어떻게 구축하느냐. 역시 이제 톱다운으로 할 수도 있고 바텀업으로 할 수 있는데 one size fits all 톱다운으로 하는 것보다는 바텀업으로 하는 게 훨씬 더 효과적입니다. 더 나아가 사실 요즘 뭐 로봇도 굉장히 급속도로 발전하고 있죠. 그래서 이제 저희가 생각하는 그림에는 마이크로소프트의 클라우드가 로봇, 버티컬 AI, 그리고 데이터를 다 통합해주는 환경이 정말 진정한 인더스트리 5.5의 구현이 아닌가 생각이 듭니다. 네, 제 말씀 여기까지만 드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 선생님 감사합니다. 네, 한국에서 흔치 않은 학내 벤처의 성공적인 케이스인데요. 앞으로 세이지가 AI와 결합해서 한국을 대표하는 AI 스마트 팩토리 리더로 발전하기를 기대해 보겠습니다. 앞서 사티아의 장표에서도 저희 마이크로소프트와 KT의 파트너십에 대해서 언급됐었는데 사실 상세한 얘기를 좀 말씀드릴 기회가 적었습니다. 그래서 오늘은 KT의 AX 여정에 대해서 실질적으로 그 업무를 담당하고 계시는 정우진 전무님을 모시고 좀 상세한 말씀 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 정우진 전무님 무대로 모시도록 하겠습니다.
어마어마한 규모네요. 먼저 이 마이크로소프트의 가장 글로벌에서도 큰 행사인 AI 투어 서울에 개최하신 것도 축하드리고 KT를 초대해 주신 것에 대해서 진심으로 먼저 조은우 대표께 감사드립니다. 감사합니다. 저는 현재 KT에서 전략사업 컨설팅 부분을 맡고 있고요. 어떻게 보면 KT가 가장 큰 대변화 또는 변혁 또는 변신이라고 할 수 있는 AICT를 드리븐하는 데 한 역할을 하고 있습니다. 작년 한 해 KT는 엄청난 변화가 있었는데요. 그 중에서도 마이크로소프트와 파트너십이 가장 큰 변화의 한 축이라고 생각합니다. 벌써 6개월이 지났는데요. 당연히 저희가 하고 있었던 내용들이 많이 궁금하실 것 같아서 그 부분에 대해서 좀 얘기를 좀 드리고자 합니다. 당연히 첫 번째로는 어떻게 보면 저희 회사 내부의 변화가 가장 크잖아요. 오늘 저는 마이크로소프트가 예전에 퍼스널 컴퓨터라고 하는 PC 회사에서 그 운영체계 윈도우라든지 오피스 코파일럿이라는 CP 회사로 바뀌고 있다는 걸 좀 느꼈었는데요. 아마 KT가 전 직원이 최초로 국내에서 코파일럿을 전사 도입을 해가지고 업무 혁신한 회사가 아닐까 저는 생각이 되고요. 당연히 그 기반으로 저희는 OSS, BSS, ERP 같은 백엔드 통신계의 가장 핵심인 레가시 시스템을 모더나이제이션을 마이크로소프트와 함께 준비를 하고 있고요. 그 밖에 레가시 IT에 대한 클라우드 마이그레이션도 마이크로소프트 애저 클라우드로 지금 열심히 진행을 하고 있습니다. 또한 대외 사업은 B2B AX가 당연히 핵심인데요. 아직 공개하지는 않지만 조만간 오픈 예정인 한국적 AI 모델을 마이크로소프트와 같이 R&D를 하고 있습니다. 그리고 두 번째로는 당연히 그 데이터와 AI의 가장 중요한 요즘 얘기하는 뭐 주권이라고 하는 소버린 클라우드, 그것들을 MCFS라고 하는 마이크로소프트의 소버린 클라우드와 함께 KT가 시큐어 퍼블릭 클라우드로 준비를 하고 있고요. 당연히 모델과 클라우드만 필요한 것이 아니라 에이전틱 AI가 중요하게 되는데요. 이 부분도 산업 특화된 에이전틱 AI로 저희가 준비를 하고 있습니다. 근데 결국은 저희가 봤을 때 AI는 예전에 우리가 스마트폰이 막 나오고 그 다음에 앱스토어가 열리면서 수백만 개의 앱이 막 찍어지던 그 시점을 아마 기억하실 겁니다. 저희는 바로 AX가 그 시대의 어떤 그런 분위기와 느낌이 같다고 생각하고요. 결국 그 AX를 잘하기 위해서 마이크로소프트와 함께 고투마켓, 즉 영업부터 마케팅, 고객에게 이르는 모든 여정을 같이 하고 있고요. 그 밖에 제일 중요한 부분이 역량이라고 생각하는데요. 결국 우리가 AI의 최신 역량과 기술뿐만 아니라 다양한 경험을 갖고 있어야만 고객에게 제공을 할 수 있잖아요. 그것들을 위해서 AX 딜리버리 센터를 런칭을 하였습니다. 그래서 저희 KT 직원과 함께 마이크로소프트 글로벌 최고의 역량을 갖고 있는 직원이 함께 일하면서 고객에게 제공할 예정입니다. 세 번째로는 KT와 마이크로소프트만 이 모든 문제와 이 모든 프로젝트와 이 모든 플랫폼을 만들거나 구축하거나 해결할 수는 없습니다. 결국 여기 계시는 또는 저희가 국내 글로벌 다양한 파트너들과 함께 이것들을 같이 할 예정입니다. 결국은 저희가 그리고 있는 마이크로소프트와 함께 가는 여정의 가장 큰 핵심은요. 국내에 여러 산업이 있습니다. 뭐 공공, 금융, 교육, 에너지, 뭐 국방, 방산 다양한 산업에 글로벌 넘버원 AX 레퍼런스를 같이 만들어서 한국의 진정한 K 인텔리전스, 얼마 전에 저희가 KT가 AI 브랜드를 런칭을 했었는데요. 그 K 인텔리전스를 리얼라이즈 하는 것이 가장 저희들의 큰 목표라고 생각합니다. 아마 오늘 행사 뜻깊은 세션도 많고 의미 있는 세션도 많을 텐데요. KT 세션도 준비되어 있고 저희 부스도 만들어져 있습니다. 아마 둘러보시고 저희 세션도 많이 들어봐 주시면서 KT MS 파트너십에 대해서 좀 더 한 걸음 더 나갈 수 있는 그런 시간이 됐으면 감사하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 여러분 감사합니다. 제가 많은 변화에 대한 말씀으로 설명을 시작드렸는데요. 이런 급진적인 변화에 대응하는 최고의 전략이 뭘까라고 생각하면 아마 급진적인 혁신일 것 같습니다. 소개드리는 파트너분들 그리고 이 자리에 함께 하신 마이크로소프트의 파트너분들과 함께 여러분들의 AI 여정에 도움이 되도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
GitHub 토마스 돔케 대표를 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
Hello Seoul. I'm so proud to be here halfway across the world to talk to you about our shared future for software developers. And being a developer myself for the last over 30 years, I couldn't be more excited about that future. You know, through my journey, through my career, there have been moments in tech where everything changes, right? You see it a little bit on the slide. There was before the PC and after the PC. There was before the internet when we had to figure it out by ourselves, and after the internet when we could collaborate. Before open source and after open source. Before the cloud and after cloud. Now we're at the moment where we're in the middle of AI. It's no longer before AI, it's right smack in the middle. And I actually think, you know, we're going to enter the next phase this year. We're going to see more progress in software development this year than we have seen in the last 100 years. But it all started with the first Copilot, GitHub Copilot. Back in the middle of 2020, in COVID lockdown, we started working on GitHub Copilot basis on GPT-3, the first large language model that really was able to write code. And we had one simple idea: make developers a little bit more productive, help them in writing code with auto-completion. And 2 years later, in the summer of 2022, we did a case study that showed that those developers that were using Copilot, just auto-completion, compared to developers without Copilot, they're 55% faster. And you know, it doesn't matter what the number actually is in real life. What matters is it's clear that software development with the help of AI makes developers more productive, more fulfilled, more happy. And then in 2022 came ChatGPT. And of course, we rallied to add chat into Copilot, allowing developers not only to auto-complete their code, but also explain code, generate test cases, analyze bugs, or how you see in the demo, just learn about the institutional knowledge of all our engineering organizations. And today, Copilot covers the whole application lifecycle. It offers multiple models from OpenAI, a GPT 4.5, to Claude 3.7 Sonnet, to Google Gemini 2.0. It offers search with Bing. It offers code review and code referencing. And you know, the most important thing, it makes developers to get their job done faster. And I really like the study here from a company in Thailand that asked developers using Copilot how they feel, how they would compare having Copilot to a hero superpower. And so you can see on the slide, 52% said Copilot makes them faster than a speeding bullet. 16% said it gives them X-ray vision. And 15% said it makes them leap a building in a single bound. And this one customer reported overall an ROI, return on invest, of 284%. And now we're in the middle of 2025, and we believe this is the year of the SWE agent, the software engineering agent, the agent that up-levels Copilot from pair programmer to peer programmer, that makes Copilot a member of your development team. It's no longer just code completion, it up-levels Copilot with an agent mode. And it brings that agent mode, that SWE agent, right where developers are, just like we did with the original Copilot. It lets them use a SWE agent from VS Code. Let's look at a demo.
코파일럿의 에이전트 모드는 AI 지원 개발의 다음의 진화입니다. 에이전트 모드에서는 코파일럿이 워크스페이스 전체를 대상으로 문맥을 인식하고 변경 내용의 제한 및 검증, 그리고 사용자의 승인을 받기 위한 확인까지 자동적으로 실행합니다. 에이전트 모드를 통해 통합적인 기능 갱신을 더 확실하게 그리고 더 빨리 개발할 수 있습니다. 에이전트 모드를 사용하려면 먼저 코파일럿 에디트를 선택한 후 모드 선택에서 에이전트를 선택하세요. 거기서부터 사용하고 싶은 AI 모델을 선택하고 프롬프트를 입력하면 끝입니다. 그리고 코파일럿랑 똑같이 사용자의 모국어로 사용할 수 있습니다. 코파일럿에게 요구 내용을 발송한 후 이하의 순서를 반복하면서 요구를 처리합니다. 먼저 자동적으로 관련된 문맥과 편집할 대상 파일을 판단합니다. 그 후 요구한 내용을 구성할 수 있는 코드 내용과 명령어를 제공하면서 동시에 각자 편집 내용의 완성도와 명령 실행 후의 출력 내용을 확인합니다. 마지막으로 문제가 있으면 각 문제를 해결하기 위해 이 프로세스를 반복합니다. 코파일럿의 에이전트 모드는 초기화한 상태에서 새로운 앱의 생성, 다수의 파일을 대상으로 리팩토링을 수행, 테스트의 작성 및 실행, 그리고 레거시 코드를 최신의 프레임워크로 갱신을 할 수 있습니다. 도큐멘트 작성, 라이브러리 추가, 그리고 복잡한 코드베이스에 대한 질문에도 대답할 수 있습니다. 에이전트 모드는 개발자가 조정하면서 개발 플로우를 지휘할 수 있습니다.
One of the things that I really love about this demo is, my first language isn't German, isn't English. My first language is German. I grew up in Germany. And of course, for many of you, your first language is Korean. And as you saw in the demo, you can use Copilot, you can prompt it in Korean, you get the response in Korean. So it makes it so much more accessible for anyone around the world that doesn't speak English to learn and explore software development. And once the agent is done with writing all that code, of course, the next step is for me and my development team to review the code, to make sure that all the code that was written passes the standards of my organization, security, compliance, and trust. And of course, we have an agent for that as well, the Copilot code review agent, and I have another demo for you.
코드 리뷰는 코드 개발에서 제일 중요한 개념 중에 하나입니다. 그런데 수동 코드 리뷰는 중요하지만 시간이 많이 걸립니다. 코파일럿의 코드 리뷰 기능을 사용하면 EC 리뷰를 코파일럿 에이전트에 부탁하시면 버그 및 퍼포먼스 문제 검출하고 수정 내용까지 자동적으로 작성됩니다. 결과적으로는 인간 리뷰를 기다리는 중에 벌써 코드에 대한 개선 작업을 시작할 수 있고 품질과 유지 관리성에 집중할 수 있습니다. 코파일럿한테 코드 리뷰를 요청하고 싶으시면 리포지토리 룰을 통해 자동 리뷰를 구성할 수 있습니다. 아니면 직접 풀 리퀘스트에서 코파일럿한테 리뷰를 온디맨드로 요청할 수 있습니다. 여러분들이 원하는 대로 구성이 가능합니다. 시작하기 전에 먼저 코파일럿 리뷰 서머리 기능을 실행하겠습니다. 이 기능은 풀 리퀘스트의 변경 내용에 대한 상세 해설을 작성합니다. 풀 리퀘스트를 작성한 후 설명 입력 칸에서 코파일럿 버튼을 누르시면 잠시 후 코파일럿이 해설을 작성합니다. 다음으로 코파일럿 코드 리뷰 기능을 실행해 봅시다. 풀 리퀘스트에서 리뷰어를 선택할 때 코파일럿을 선택하세요. 잠시 기다린 후 코파일럿이 직접 풀 리퀘스트에게 코멘트를 추가합니다. 받은 제안 내용을 적용하려면 Commit Suggestions 버튼을 클릭한 후 Commit Changes를 누르시면 됩니다. 이렇게 하시면 github.com 상에서 직접 파일에게 변경 제안 내용을 적용하고 파일이 갱신됩니다. 또한 코파일럿에서 작성한 제안 내용을 수정 및 확인하기 위해 직접 풀 리퀘스트에서 새롭게 된 코파일럿 워크스페이스를 기동할 수 있습니다. 그리고 리뷰는 GitHub에 올리기 전에 비주얼 스튜디오 코드 안에서도 실행할 수 있는 것도 까먹지 마세요. 이렇게 하시면 개발 프로세스를 더욱 효과적으로 수행할 수 있습니다.
And this is even more amazing when I work with team members all around the world. No longer do I have to wait for my coworker on the West Coast to wake up. I have Copilot giving me feedback, and by the time that my human reviewer looks at the code, my code looks perfect. So far, we have written code with agent mode, and we've reviewed code with Copilot Review Agent. The next thing is to fix security vulnerabilities. All of us, we don't want security issues in our code. And we want it to be fixed as soon as possible. With Copilot Autofix, when a developer submits code in a pull request, not only do we find the security vulnerabilities, but we also fix them. Or how we say, found meets fixed. Now the next stage of this, and Satya already alluded to this, is the fully autonomous SWE agent. And the way this works is that I no longer have to check out the code on my machine. I can literally assign work to Copilot in GitHub issues and let it do the work behind the scenes, just like one of my team members would do. And once Copilot is finished, it creates a pull request, and I can review this pull request, again, just like one of my human team members. And if everything is perfect, I can merge the code and deploy it to my production system. Let's see one last final demo.
SWE 에이전트는 개발자를 지원하기 위한 생성형 AI를 베이스로 구성한 자동 시스템입니다. 이런 에이전트는 코드 생성, 리팩토링, 그리고 리뷰 등의 개발 작업을 실행할 수 있습니다. 제가 여기서부터 저희가 개발한 SWE 에이전트, 프로젝트 페다완을 소개하겠습니다. 이 기능은 직접 이슈를 GitHub 코파일럿한테 맡기면서 이슈를 해결하기 위한 검증이 완료된 풀 리퀘스트를 자동적으로 작성할 수 있는 기능입니다. 한 개의 태스크가 완료되면 인간한테 풀 리퀘스트 리뷰를 부탁하고 추가로 나온 피드백을 참고하면서 수정 내용도 작성합니다. 여기에 보이는 이슈는 좀 오랫동안 백로그에 있을 것 같은 문제입니다. 한번 코파일럿에게 맡겨봅시다. 이슈 안에 있는 정보와 이 코드베이스에 대한 지식을 활용하면서 코파일럿이 작업을 하면서 초안 풀 리퀘스트를 작성하고 이슈에게 연결을 합니다. 풀 리퀘스트를 열면 이 이슈를 해결하기 위한 작업 계획을 확인할 수 있습니다. 코파일럿에서 작업을 진행하면서 PR을 설명을 내용을 갱신하고 변경 내용을 간단히 따를 수 있게 증분 커밋을 작성합니다. 몇 분 후 완료됐습니다. 코파일럿은 PR 내용을 작성한 변경 내용을 요약해서 등록하고 인간 리뷰 준비가 됐다고 등록합니다. 변경 내용을 보시면 이슈에 써 있었던 문제는 해결되고 코드 부분도 이 리포지토리에 있는 코딩 개념에 따라서 수정 내용을 작성한 것도 확인할 수 있습니다. 새로운 테스트도 작성만 하지는 않고 실제로 실행해서 통과하는 것까지 확인을 했습니다. 다른 코드 리뷰랑 똑같이 추가로 수정사항 요구 및 정보 제공을 할 수도 있습니다. 코파일럿은 저의 코멘트에 반응해서 제가 만족할 때까지 이 문제를 해결하려고 작업을 진행합니다. 제가 원하면 직접 변경 내용을 등록할 수도 있어서 언제나 제가 조정할 수 있는 상태입니다. 하지만 이 내용에 대한 문제점은 없다고 보여서 이대로 머지를 하고 이슈도 클로즈 됩니다. 이것이 프로젝트 페다완입니다. 이슈에서 테스트가 완료된 코드까지 전부 다 코파일럿이 실현한 것입니다.
As you may have noticed in the demo, the developer never even modified the code. In fact, the developer never even checked out the code on their local machine. All of that works just from the web browser. In fact, it works even from my mobile phone. What happens in the background is that the agent, we call it Padawan, like in Star Wars, Jedi and Padawan. Padawan checks out the code in a virtual machine in the cloud. It uses the terminal and the browser to figure out how to solve the problem. And of course, it uses a model that runs on GPUs. And this means that to have this orchestra of agent available to me as a developer, I need to be in the cloud. No cloud, no agents. All of this is elastic capacity that developers are spinning up when they assign tasks, one or more tasks to an agent, and that is no longer needed when the developer is taking off and goes at home. So if you're not in the cloud yet, it's time to migrate now. But what happens if you don't adopt AI? What happens if you're still skeptical if this AI thing is real? Well, we call this the productivity polarity, and we believe there's going to be two groups of companies. The one group of companies that adopts AI and will be in a whole nother spectrum of productivity. In software development, we sometimes call that the 10x developer. And then there are the companies that don't embrace it, that are the wrong side of the polarity. So it's your choice on which side of the polarity you want to be. And I believe, South Korea is poised to ride in the next phase. In fact, South Korea is first in the OECD nations in the adoption of AI. And there are already more than 2.25 million software developers in South Korea on GitHub. And they're fostering more than 100 AI suppliers globally. This is amazing. This is so much progress. It is up to you to be in the middle of this age of AI. And the good news is we're still just at the beginning. Even 5 years after we started with the work of Copilot, we think there's so much more work to do. We saw it in previous transition. Like I said in the beginning, right? The personal computer, the internet, open source, and the cloud and now AI. It's unimaginable where we will go just in a few years. In just a few years, we will be where every person, where every organization, and where every country can take share in the age of AI. I actually think, we're going to see the next Microsoft here out of Seoul, or out of my hometown in Berlin, or out of Rio de Janeiro, because any 6-year-old can start learn coding before they start even learning English. The opportunity is now, South Korea. All we need is the confidence to believe in it. So let's go. Thank you. See you soon.